From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang in review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said his administration has established a total of 131 specialty centers across the country in 2023 and has allocated another 11.12 billion pesos for the establishment of additional centers nationwide. In a video message, the President said that since he has signed Republic Act or RA number 11959, also known as the Regional Specialty Centers Act, on August 24, 2023, specialty hospitals were established in various parts of the country. RA 11959 designates the Department of Health or DOH to establish specialty centers in its hospitals in every region and in state-controlled specialty hospitals, prioritizing cancer care, cardiovascular care, lung care, renal care and kidney transplant, brain and spine care, trauma care, and burn care. The specialty centers prioritize in orthopedic care, physical rehabilitation medicine, infectious disease and tropical medicine, toxicology, mental health, geriatric care, neonatal care, dermatology, eye care, and ear, nose, and throat care. Let's listen to the message of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Noong August 24, 2023, pinirmahan po ang Republic Act number 11959, known as the Regional Specialty Centers Act. Ito ay mga ating specialty centers, specialty hospitals sa iba't ibang lugar. As of December 2023, we have established 131 specialty centers nationwide. Nakapagbigay tayo ng 11.12 billion for 2024 para makapagpatayo pa tayo ng mga specialty centers sa iba't ibang lugar. Marami na rin tayong ginawa sa ilalim ng programang Doctors to the Barangays. Itong programa nito ay in-expand to 204 out of 218 municipalities naman. Ang katumbas niyan ay 91% na ng municipalities ay masasabi natin may nag-aalaga na doktor. Kaya napaka-importante nito. Patuloy pa itong programa nito para naman masabi natin na talaga natin binabantayan ang kalusugan ng ating mga mamamayan.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, on Monday said the Horizon 3 phase of the revised Armed Forces of the Philippines Modernization Program, or RAFP-MP, will focus on improving the military's archipelagic defense capabilities. During the press briefing held shortly after the AFP Command Conference in Camp Aguinaldo, AFP Chief General Romeo Bronner Jr. said that President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. had already approved the list of equipment and weapons system itemized for Horizon 3. General Bronner said that the archipelagic defense concept is aimed at protecting the Philippines' 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, which would require the military to acquire additional ships, aircraft, and radar systems. During the command conference attended by the President, Bronner said, the Commander-in-Chief wants to reconfigure the military's approach in dealing with different threat groups, such as the communist and local terrorist groups, as well as threats in the West Philippine Sea, or WPS. The AFP chief said President Marcos Jr. instructed them to think of new and innovative ways to deal with the threats and also gain the support of the Philippines' partners and allies as well as like-minded countries. Meanwhile, Bronner said, the AFP will focus on developing islands and other features the military is occupying in the WPS like Pag-asa and Lawak Islands in order to make them more livable for troops manning them. In the meantime, President Marcos awarded campaign streamers to the outstanding units of the AFP. The award recognizes the administration's victory in dismantling the different New People's Army or NPA guerrilla fronts in their respective areas, which is a big contribution to the overall victory in the fight against communist terrorists. Among those that were recognized were Joint Task Force or JTF Tala, the units of the Philippine Army 303rd Brigade, 3rd Infantry Division or ID, the 502nd Brigade and 503rd Brigade of the 5th ID, the 702nd Brigade of the 7th ID, 801st Brigade of the 8th ID, 54th Infantry Battalion or IB of the 5th ID, 94th IB of the 3rd ID, the 3rd IB of the 7th ID, the 5th Special Forces Battalion, and the 1st Mechanized Brigade of the 6th ID.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, reiterated that President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s congratulatory message to President-elect Lai Ching-te was his way of thanking Taiwan for hosting the nearly 200,000 overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs. In an ex-post, the Philippine president congratulated Lai on his election, saying he looks forward to close collaboration, strengthening mutual interest, fostering peace, and ensuring prosperity for our peoples in the years ahead. In a statement, the DFA said that the message of President Marcos congratulating the new Taiwan president was his way of thanking them for hosting the Philippines OFWs and holding a successful democratic process. The DFA earlier reaffirmed the principles contained in the joint communique of the Government of the Republic of the Philippines and the Government of the People's Republic of China, signed by President Ferdinand E. Marcos and Premier Zhou Enlai on June 9, 1975. The Philippines is committed to its One China policy. The joint communique states that the two governments agree to settle all disputes by peaceful means without resorting to the use or threat of force. Under the One China principle, the Philippines recognizes the People's Republic of China as the sole Chinese government.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday received the credentials of new Brazilian Ambassador Gilberto Fonseca Guimarães de Moura in a ceremony at Malacañang Palace. During the presentation of credentials, the Philippine President welcomed the new Brazilian ambassador and expressed his intentions to expand the bilateral relations between the Philippines and Brazil. The chief executive noted that since diplomatic relations between the two countries were established in 1946, Brazil has become one of the country's partners in technical cooperation, agriculture, trade and investment, defense, and environmental protection. President Marcos Jr. also expressed his support for Brazil's hosting of the 30th session of the Conference of the Parties, or COP30, to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC, in 2025. The Philippine president said that Brazil is a powerful voice in marshaling collective action towards the protection of the environment and addressing the effects of climate change. Celebrating its 78th year this July, Philippines-Brazil relations has been dedicated to peace, economic and social development, equality, and the condemnation of racial discrimination and terrorism, among others.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Tuesday said that the national government is ready to answer any questions with regards to the unprogrammed funds in the 5.768 trillion peso national budget for 2024. In a statement, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Secretary Chaloy Garafil said, the Executive Department will answer accordingly if required by the Supreme Court. The statement was made after House Representatives Edsel Lagman, Gabriel Bordado, and Mujib Hataman filed before the Supreme Court or SC a petition questioning the constitutionality of the 449.5 billion pesos worth of unprogrammed funds in the 2024 General Appropriations Act or GAA. The three lawmakers said that the insertion of 449.5 billion pesos on top of the 289.1 billion pesos originally requested by the executive branch is tainted with grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of congressional jurisdiction. Congress has raised the unprogrammed appropriations under the 2024 GAA from the proposed 281.9 billion pesos to 731.5 billion pesos after the bicameral conference. Lagman, Bordado, and Hataman are asking the SC to issue a temporary restraining order or writ of preliminary injunction to prevent the release of the unprogrammed funds included in the 2024 national budget. The Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, earlier said that the unprogrammed funds are merely standby appropriations outside the approved government fiscal government. The unprogrammed funds, the DBM said, serve as an important tool for the government to address unforeseen expenditures and prioritize essential programs and projects.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday recognized the Pasig River's cultural and historical significance. During the inauguration of the showcase area of the Pasig River Urban Development or PRUD project in the city of Manila, the President said his administration targets to transform the Pasig River to what it's supposed to be. While he admitted that there is a slim chance to restore the Pasig River to its pre-colonial pristine condition, President Marcos said the government would stop the river from being a petri dish of toxins and make it instead an incubator of progress and of best environmental practices. President Marcos Jr. on July 25, 2023, issued Executive Order or EO number 35 mandating the rehabilitation of the Pasig River to its historically pristine condition conducive to transport, recreation, and tourism. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
No river in our country holds of great cultural and historical significance as Pasig River. Its flow has not only changed the contours of our nation's capital, but the economic landscape of a booming metropolis as well. As the country's first nautical expressway, it brought people together and their content to its tributaries along whose banks settlements grew and prospered. It was a witness to the ebb and flow of our history, transporting heroes during the birth of the Republic. The courage of patriots, his spirit was never broken in the watery dungeons of Fort Santiago. After the end of the country's colonial period, the symbol of executive power was found along its banks. For a river that has given us so much, we have given back too little. Our stewardship of this national asset leaves much to be desired. A national deficit which we have never properly erased. I am personally a witness to it. Isa po akong anak ng Pasig. Bago po ako ay pumasok sa larangan ng serbisyo publika, nandiyan ang Bongbong Marcos na batang Pasig. I grew up by the Pasig River. Today, I work by the Pasig River. I live by the Pasig River. I travel between the two, my workplace and my residence, by boat through the Pasig River. So when it comes to knowing the state of Pasig River, I do not merely rely statistics reported, but by sight and smell on my morning and evening commute. Mga kaibigan ko, hindi tayo rito para ay mapag-usapan. We do not bring us here to wax nostalgic to the past or wax poetic of the beauty that it once was. Rather, we are here to blame a path forward for this national asset. We are here to reject the defeatist view that the Pasig River is beyond redemption. We are here to consecrate ourselves to the mission of transforming Pasig River to what it is supposed to be. A living river of multiple benefits for the multitude, featuring safe walkways and bikeways along its banks, a green corridor that will serve as lungs for our city's needs, a string of parks for communities nearby. Along the 25-kilometer stretch will judiciously sprout commercial enterprises run by the best tours and the strongest stakeholders of the river's development, the people themselves. We envision civic spaces where our children will play, our seniors will relax, families will exercise, artists can showcase their talents, and the creators can display their wares. We want it to be a permanent exhibit area of green technology that works, from solar lights to rain harvesting facilities, sustainable practices like urban gardens. We will also maximize ready-to-use but underutilized maritime highways by deploying more ferry boats and stations, because if you build them, the riders will come. The transformation we would like to see in Pasig River are not cosmetic in nature. We will not paper over the river's fundamental problems, nor whitewash its crime by leaving the old and rotten still there. We do not want a river that is instantly made picturesque by coats of paint. We want a river whose transformation sinks to its very bottom. This begins by cleaning up the river, and some solutions are found upstream, because waste that goes far from the Pasig River end up in the Pasig River, funneled to waterways which have become tourists. As the threat of climate change looms, we must save the poor and vulnerable living along its banks from the ravages of frequent and fearsome typhoons by transferring them to better homes which they deserve. Make no mistake about it. It will be a people-centered and community-driven development, with ideas crowdsourced from experts and carried out with political will. We may never restore the river back to its pre-colonial pristine condition, but we can revive it to serve the present while preserving it for the future. We can stop it from being petri of toxins and make it instead an incubator of progress and of best environmental practices. In some ways, the fate of the Pasig River mirrors that of our country and of our people. Both contain much untapped potential. Both move forward persistently, despite years of neglect. That is why we have set into operation the Pasig Bigyang Buhay Muli. It is not a rebranding of the old, but revving up of new and fresh ideas. Through Executive Order 35, the Interagency Council for the Pasig River urban development has been established and has been activated, with both the DSUD and the MMDA tasked to be at the helm. Kasama sa kanilang mandato ang abot kayang pabahay para doon sa mga nag-aaral sa baluta na tuwing may nagbabadyang bagyo. Kaya inuutos ko kay Secretary Jerry Apusa ng DSUD ang pabahay na tumutulong sa lahat ng antas ng pinansyal na kakayahan. Gagawin natin ito sapagkat tama na kung sino ang malapit sa ilog ang siyang unang dapat pabibiyaan. Narito po tayo ngayon sa kilometer 0 ng ating paglalakbay para makamtan natin ang nilimiting buhay at masiglang ilog ng Pasig. Hindi po ito ningasugod sa kampanya o flavor of the month lang. This will be pursued relentlessly. So, ano ba naman ang bago nito? Tutugan ninyo at kung inyong Pangulo at siyempre ang talagang lead proponent ito ng ating First Lady. There will be scheduled milestones that will be strictly met from government agencies who are under orders to submit progress reports. The local government units along Pasig River to MMDA, PILC, to the suit. I asked for a quarterly and yearly report submitted to my office because I want to see the prototype of redevelopment of Pasig River right here, right now, produce a sustainable speed and sustainable focus up to its final and logical conclusion. I have been advised that I should be cautious about linking the fate of this river to my political forces. That I refrain from upholding as an icon of Bagong Pilipinas style this project that we are opening today. Because it could be dangerous. It could be a dangerous barometer should this project fail. But I will not be deterred from placing a bet on this endeavor because the presidency is about attaining the grand and not wasting mandate on the petty. Kagaya ng ang laging pinapaalala sa atin ng ating butihing kalihim ng DSUD, go big or go home. So, we do not expect any half-hearted commitment, not from this president. In everything I do, I am all fully in. Meron, kagaya ng aking nabanggit, meron din ko kasi tayong inihalo sa advocate ng Pasig River sa aming pamilya, ang ating First Lady. He has been a passionate champion of this river's revival, who has been quietly doing the spade work as is her way on this project. Her interest has been sparked as a citizen who has the river as the front yard and backyard of her present home. Alam ko naman na mahabang pakikibaka ito. Mahabang panahon ang kinakailangan ilaan dito. Decades of neglect cannot be undone in months. Kaya naman, hindi namin ginagawa ito para sa kapakanan ng kasalukuyang administrasyon. Ito po ay para sa susunod ng mga henerasyon na halimbawa ang proyektong ating maiiwan ay siyang economical ay ehemplo ng ating sundan. At kapag nangyari yan, ang anak ng Pasig na ito ay lilitan na may baong ngiti at saya dahil ang ilog ng ating kabataan ay mas malayo na nasusunod sa salinlahi ng taglay ng pagbabago. Mga kababayan, ang palimula ng pagbabago sa bahagi ito ng Ilog Pasig ay bahagi ng tinatagad nating bagong Pilipinas. May kaayusan at kalinisan, may kaginhawaan at kasganaan. Paparating para sa lahat.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday announced his decision to approve a specific budget for rice subsidies and tertiary health care at the Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP Medical Center for advanced medical services and overall wellness support. The president made the announcement after receiving top officials of the AFP and Philippine National Police or PNP in a New Year's call at Malacañang Palace in Manila. Among those who graced the event were Presidential Advisor on Police and Military Affairs Secretary Roman Felix, AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr., and PNP Chief Police General Benjamin Acorda Jr. Also present were Philippine Army Commanding General Lieutenant General Roy Galido, Philippine Air Force Commanding General Lieutenant General Stephen Pareño, and Philippine Navy Flag Officer in Command Vice Admiral Toribio Adasi Jr. The Commander-in-Chief said, "The administration is committed to ensure the financial stability for the military and civilian personnel as the government increased the budget of the Department of National Defense or DND for 2024. In the last quarter of 2023, President Marcos said his administration would continue undertaking initiatives to transform the AFP into a world-class force and increase the lifetime monthly gratuity pay of existing Medal of Valor awardees upon the recommendation of the DND and the AFP. President Marcos Jr. also urged the AFP to strengthen its alliances and partnerships with foreign counterparts to boost its defense capabilities."
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday said that he is studying the request of Department of Health or DOH Secretary Ted Herbosa of suspending the 5% contribution hike in the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation or PhilHealth. This was the statement of Presidential Communications Office or PCO Secretary Cheloy Garafil when asked if the letter was already received by the Office of the President or OP. To recall, based on the recommendation of the Health Secretary, there's not much impact on the financial standing of PhilHealth if the suspension is done. Herbosa said that PhilHealth has enough funding to continue giving benefits to its members and it will not incur losses if there would be a delay in the premium increase. The Health Secretary added that it is better to increase the contribution to just 2 to 3% instead of the suggested 5% in order to help its members adapt to the increase in premiums. Republic Act or RA 11223 or the Universal Healthcare Law mandates the increase in the PhilHealth contribution rate to increments of 0.5% every year starting in 2021 until it reaches 5% from 2024 to 2025. President Marcos Jr. ordered PhilHealth to suspend the increase of its premium rate and income ceiling for the calendar year 2023. The suspension was made in light of prevailing socio-economic challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday gave the Maritime Industry Authority or MARINA a directive that would standardize the country's maritime sector in order to adhere to international standards. The President made the directive during his meeting with Marina Chief Sonia Malaluan on the proposed Maritime Industry Development Plan 2028 or MIDP 2028. In her presentation, Malaluan sought the approval of President Marcos on the updated MIDP 2028, which aims to build a strong and reliable Philippine merchant fleet, addressing the sea requirements of the country in support of the National Development Agenda. Malaluan said among the core programs of the MIDP 2028 are the modernization and expansion of the Philippine domestic shipping, promotion and expansion of the Philippine overseas shipping, modernization of the Philippine shipbuilding and ship repair industry, and promotion of highly skilled Filipino and competitive maritime workforce. President Marcos Jr. said the priority is to standardize the maritime systems first and at the same time promote the country's highly skilled Filipino maritime workforce. The chief executive added that the Philippines can also promote shipbuilding and repair. President Marcos also noted the high cost of shipping, as it is cheaper to ship cargoes to the Philippines from abroad rather than shipping locally. According to Marina, among the reasons why domestic shipping is relatively expensive compared to others include vessel size, the imposition of excise tax on fuel, and vessel quality. The agency added that vessels with international routes are huge and thus enjoy economies of scale that reduces travel costs and fares. In terms of excise tax, any ship that travels internationally is not subject to excise tax on their fuel. In the Philippines, domestic shipping carry the burden of additional tax on fuel. But one of the major reasons that Marina pointed out is vessel quality, as the ships in the Philippines are old and inefficient, making them unattractive to investors. Created in June of 1974, Marina's mandate is to develop, promote, and regulate the Philippine maritime industry. Its goal is to lead a progressive maritime administration that ensures safety and security of life and property at sea, protection of marine environment, and global competitiveness of Filipino maritime workforce.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday suggested to the Private Sector Advisory Council or PSAC's tourism sector to consolidate the country's tourism services and include the promotion of native cuisines and the sports industry in order to attract more tourists. The President made the suggestion during a meeting in Malacañang Palace where the PSAC presented to him its recommendations to boost the country's tourism sector. President Marcos Jr. cited Thailand, where its tourism sector has a more organized structure, wherein visitors does not need to book separately for flights, hotel accommodations, and tour guide for the convenience of its guests. In their presentation, the PSAC tourism sector made several recommendations to make the Philippines more competitive in the global tourism market, including the visit, stay, spend, and return strategy, along with initiatives to simplify visa application processes. Presidential Communications Office or PCO Secretary Cheloy Garafil said, the Advisory Council recommended a 30-day temporary visa-free entry for international tourists, while the electronic visa or e-visa process streamlining is ongoing. Other recommendations of the PSAC, Garafil added, were tapping a third-party service provider to handle the e-visa system, improvements in airport connectivity and capacity, and value-added tax or VAT refund scheme for tourists. President Marcos directed the Department of Tourism or DOT to look into the potential of sports development to attract tourists as well as showcase the country's cuisines. The chief executive said, the government needs to develop better sporting facilities in order to host international competitions as athletes are already here. The Philippine president added that food tourism has been largely untapped as this has a huge potential in attracting tourists.
Dateline Malacañang.
Finally, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Friday graced the inauguration of the expanded petrochemicals manufacturing complex of JG Summit Olefins Corporation, or JG SOC, in a ceremony at the JG SOC Petrochemical Complex in Simlong Town, Batangas City. JG SOC is the Philippines' leading petrochemical company and the largest polyolefin manufacturer. It is the only facility in the country that processes naphtha into ethylene and propylene, key ingredients used to produce common plastics. The plant produces other chemicals used in paints, rubber, and other products. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
And I thank you for this opportunity to personally validate if the policies that we have instituted do in fact spur investments and do work on the ground. So let me hand out a quick analysis. This impressive complex is proof of concept that idea, that principle, that concept does in fact succeed. What you have built here is more than a cutting-edge technology. It is a testament to Filipino skill, a proof of business confidence, an example of manufacturing resurgence, and a realization of the vision of a great Filipino industrialist, the patriot John Gokongwei. His is a story of guts and grit for the ages. We are all familiar with his rise from very humble beginnings to what now we see as these grand projects of national importance. Losing his father and their fortune early in life, he rode a bicycle to peddle wares to support his family. From there on, he never stopped venturing to new frontiers, combining audacity with acumen to launch great products that capture Filipino hearts and in the process generate profit with honor. Long before it was coined, Mr. John practiced build better more. And JG Summit's extensive portfolio attests to how expansive his optimism was. From planes to airlines to chemicals, from housing to hotels, from fish crackers to naphtha crackers. Sabi nga ni Lance, laging hindi pinipili yung madali, naghahanap ng mahirap na gagawin. Kaya siguro yung pagka-challenge sa kanya, kaya naman tayo nagkakaroon ng ganito, napakalaking tulong sa manufacturing ng ating bansa. So it gives me tremendous hope that Mr. John's strong belief in our Filipino and his abiding faith in our country are the same forces that drive the worthy stewards of his legacy to never stop making the lives of Filipino people better. Tulad na lang po ng complex na ito, what it produces ends up in the packaging of the food we eat, in the clothes that we wear, in the appliances in our homes, in the cars that we drive, in the electronic devices that we use to chronicle our daily lives. It is an upstream industry that feeds many enterprises and supplies many other manufacturing concerns. It is amongst the linchpins of our industrialization, a vital link in moving up the value chain, and guarantees the supply of a critical production ingredient. It is directly and indirectly employing 6,200 individuals. You are a major contributor to an industry that is forecasted to enrich our economy by 215 billion pesos next year. As we inaugurate this complex, I cannot help but link its significance to two individuals whom I inducted into office just 2 days ago. First is the son of Batangas, former congressman, now Secretary Ralph Recto, who has joined us in the cabinet as a Secretary of Finance. And second is a valuable member of the hardworking Gokongwei clan, Secretary Dec Go, who is now the Special Assistant for Investment and Economic Affairs. They will do, but on a macro scale, what this multi-billion peso complex has been doing: generate jobs, grow the economy, raise revenues, attract investors, and unleash opportunities that will result in common prosperity. At this point, I must apologize, I suppose, to the Gokongwei group for taking away and pirating headhunting some of their best talent. Together with the rest of the economic team, they will continue to create a climate that propels economic growth, boosts incentives, promotes ease of doing business, and funds high-impact infrastructure. The bottom line of their assigned mission is this: to reduce red tape that chokes industry and innovation and replace it with a red carpet that ushers in capital, foreign and domestic, and provides the path towards progress. This is the government's mandatory equity to provide participation in national growth. It is my firm belief that the government should not be a yoke on the back of business, like taxing them heavily and tightly regulating their growth, making the ease of doing business a sticking point for possible investors. This complex is more than an engineering marvel. It is one that is imbued with a national mission. It is a key plank in the manufacturing renaissance that will revitalize domestic industry and scale up competitiveness, as what our Philippine Development Plan envisions. To all the men and women, scientists and engineers who keep this complex running, thank you for your labor, your hard work in pursuing this national mission. To the people of Batangas, an economic powerhouse in itself, thank you for hosting this critical enterprise, which you support by supplying the workforce that it needs and providing the local government support, which is essential to the success of such large projects. And of course, to the Gokongweis, kindly receive the gratitude of your countrymen for your continuous big and bold investments that uplift the lives of our people, that raise our global business appeal, that hoist us as an FDI destination and boost confidence in our economy. Once again, a very, very warm congratulations on the establishment of JG Summit's expanded petrochemicals manufacturing complex.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, we would like to invite everyone to come and visit our Facebook page at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.